Next question.
Yeah. Long question here.
Yeah. My general question is there a point where it's no longer physically realistic to train jiu-jitsu?
Big jiu-jitsu today on the podcast.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu heavy.
Jiu-jitsu day. Yeah.
I'm
and actually, I noticed we were going back to jiu-jitsu a lot.
Yeah.
we took some questions that weren't about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
We turned them into jiu-jitsu questions.
Jiu-jitsu
happens sometimes.
Yeah, it's life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a former competitive athlete, but have experienced various injuries that I still work through on a daily basis. I really want to get into jiu-jitsu, but my only hesitations are my lingering injuries. I don't know anyone who trains, so I don't have any sense of how much is too much when it comes to physical limitations and injuries. I'm sure you must have had injuries over the years that hindered your training. Were you able to modify your training to accommodate them? Although I have no experience, I greatly respect the martial arts. And the last thing that I would want to do is waste the instructor or other students' time by not being able to fully participate and or holding up the class. I hope this question can benefit other podcast listeners who may be wondering the same thing. However, to give you full detail in reference to the question, I'm 26 and the injuries I'm dealing with are, here's the list. Left knee that I need to work on daily to maintain full range of motion. On my third ACL, meaning he had surgery 3 times.
Well, yeah, he's had 3. Actually, he said he had surgery 7 times, but that's his third ACL.
Oh, ACL surgery.
The third ligament been put in there.
Dang, yeah.
Because they replace the ligament because it doesn't grow back and it doesn't heal, so they got to give you a cadaver, or they either give you your own from your hip or from your hip
or hamstring or
hamstring, and they put that in there, or they give you a cadaver one.
Yeah, I had that. I had ACL back in the
cadaver,
my own from my hamstring.
Oh, okay.
I've had 7 surgeries. Well, I haven't. This is back to the question. I've had 7 surgeries, most recent being a femoral osteotomy and cadaver meniscus transplant. There you go. I'm told one more major injury to the joint, and I'm looking at a full knee replacement. Dang it, 26 too. Left shoulder, dislocated several times, torn ligament, cartilage, and labrum. Don't plan on having the surgery anytime soon. And a history of multiple concussions. I powerlift, jog, metcon, hell yeah, regularly, but all cutting sports are pretty much out of the question. I think, so cutting all sports. Yeah, gotcha.
No, he says, but all cutting sports are pretty much meaning cutting. You know when you cut on the field.
Oh, cutting. Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Like cutting left, cutting right. I'm pretty sure that's what he means.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought he meant.
Yeah, because he can powerlift, he can jog, he can do metcons, but he can't cut.
Gotcha.
Check.
Okay. Either way, I got you. Sports are pretty much out of the question. If jiu-jitsu isn't feasible, do you recommend any other martial art that would better fit my situation? Just getting tired of only trying to stay physically fit and would rather incorporate a beneficial skill into my training. Or is this all in my head and I should stop worrying and just get after it? Thank you for any advice you can offer. Podcast, thank you for your service.
All right. Awesome. So I kind of broke these out. Let me break these out here. So his first general question, is there a point where it's no longer physically realistic to train jiu-jitsu? The answer to that really is yes, but you can also train jiu-jitsu in a wide variety of levels of intensity, a very wide. You could theoretically just go and learn the techniques.
Yeah.
You could just learn the techniques and never actually roll with someone. And if you couldn't do anything at all, that would, in my opinion, I would still do that.
Yeah.
Just to know and understand it, I would still do that.
Yeah.
Would you?
Agree, yes.
And now what you have to watch out for is that you're going to want to try them.
Yeah.
You're going to want to try them against someone real. And that's what you're going to want to do. Now, like I said, you can do it from just learning the techniques only to all the way to competing in jiu-jitsu. And like I said, you got to watch out that if you can only learn them, and maybe you can roll light. Maybe you can roll with light people, or you can roll with really good brown belts that are light, and that you tell them, up front, hey, I got injuries. I'm not here for an ego trip. I just want to try the moves. You better freaking keep your ego in check, though, which is what's so hard, because you're going to think, well, this guy's kind of skinny. I think I could do this right now. Right. I think I can get out of this. And then you end up getting hurt. Yeah. So you can't let that happen. So don't let your ego get in the way. You might not want, if you have all those serious injuries like it sounds like you have, you may not want to roll with anybody for a long time until you really, truly understand jiu-jitsu. So that's question number 1. Yes, you can learn it without much risk, actually. Very limited risk. If you're just looking to learn the techniques, you could learn it with very limited risk. Now, the next question, have I had injuries over the years, and was I able to modify my training to accommodate them? Absolutely. Yeah. I've had sprained ankles, high sprains, all that stuff. And when that happens, you see me training my bottom game a bunch because I'm not going to be on top. I hurt my back one time really bad, and I couldn't do an oompa. This is when I was a blue belt. Couldn't do an oompa. Couldn't do it. Guess what I did? Elbow escape. My elbow escape got good because I could not do an oompa. I've had my MCL, 80% tear. Get some. Guess what? No factor. Put on, and I couldn't train for like a couple weeks, but then I put on one of those hinged metal braces, strapped that thing on tight. Could I do closed guard? No. Could I do a triangle on someone? No. Did I have to be careful? Yes. Did I train? Absolutely. My neck, I had neck surgery, and my neck now, does it hurt? Yeah. And my whole game is kind of based fundamentally around protecting my neck. So I don't do certain moves that I used to do that are high risk neck moves.
Interesting.
Right? Like, there's just certain moves that I just don't do anymore because it's high risk neck move, and I don't want to put my neck into jeopardy. So yes, you do go through things. Now, occasionally, like I just got through a few weeks where I had 3 simultaneous injuries, and it was a broken knuckle, some kind of a knee issue, and I had a gaping cut on my toe, my big toe.
Dang,
ripped half the skin off the bottom of my toe. And so I said to myself, okay, I'll just tape up my entire body and still train. No, I didn't say that. I said, you know what? This is, my body telling me, 1 injury you can get through, 2 injuries. Okay, wait a second. But when I finally tore my toe open, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to take like some time away from the mat. So I didn't train for a few weeks, right? Probably the longest I haven't trained in it since I can't remember. But that's 3 injuries stacked on top of one another. And now I'm just thinking to myself, you got to be kidding me. Let them all heal. And that's what I did. So that's that. The next sort of question was, if jiu-jitsu isn't feasible, do you recommend any other martial art that would be better fit your situation? I think you can always learn jiu-jitsu. I think you could learn to box. You could learn Muay Thai. You got to be careful. Be careful with Muay Thai. You got the knee surgeries. You got, I would say, little or no sparring since you've had concussions. And like I said, in all those cases, you're going to learn to box, and you're like, well, I think I want to try this out, man. Looks pretty easy in that sparring ring. I'm going to get in there. Don't. You've already have concussions. You can't. You got to keep your ego in check. And then the last part of the question was, or is this all in my head and I should just stop worrying and get after it? Look, we all have got to know our limitations. You got to also know that sometimes you're putting limitations on yourself that are too tight. And you also got to realize that sometimes you can push yourself too hard and overdo it and end up in a really rough spot where you got a permanent injury. Like, right, my knee is not fully healed. And so instead of doing 9 rounds of jiu-jitsu, I did like 4 yesterday, 5 yesterday, 5 today, not, and avoiding a couple positions, right? That's what I'm doing. Yeah. That's okay. I can't go in there and have the big ego and be like, I'm going to be on top right now. No, can't do it. And the more impactful part is I can't have the big ego of like somebody comes over and is like, hey, let's roll. Right. Like, okay, I'll roll with you because I don't want to look like a wuss. Yeah. No, actually, I got an injured knee. Can't roll right now, which I hate saying. Yeah. I despise saying that. I despise saying that. I despise it. But I know that, I got to heal up.
Yeah, man.
So
it's part of the game. Yeah, that's
keep the ego in check.
Remember Jerry Loudon? Remember? Yeah. So he had jammed up knees, and I thought of him. Reading this guy's question. Yeah. Same age, maybe. I don't know. Jerry might have been older.
A little bit older, maybe like 32 or something.
Yeah. So jammed up knees, but he jiu-jitsu guy. So he comes in, and what he'd always do is he'd be like, hey, he'd grab me because I've known him a long time, rolled him many times. He'd be like, hey, what he called it is he's like, hey, do you want to play? Meaning like we're just rolling, just like how you said, like how you
like how I warm up with Andy. with
Yes,
Big Andy.
exactly
Yeah.
right. Yes, he's really good for that too.
He's
by the
great.
way.
Now Dean is not good for that.
Okay, yeah. So don't roll with Dean.
Dean will literally say to me, "Hey, let's just get warmed up,"
Yeah,
and then he'll get
different.
across side and smash me for 4 minutes and 38 seconds.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
Way different.
torture me.
Yeah.
So I do not do warm up rounds with Dean.
Yes.
Dean,
Way different.
you can go to hell. No warm up rounds with you.
And obviously Dean does that on purpose.
Oh, for
but
sure.
If like
Because
newer
when
guys,
we do that, Dean has 2 advantages. Number 1, I'm not warm, and that means there's no sweat yet. So there's like just friction, and he can just secure positions, and it sucks. And psychologically, we both know. Oh, and the other advantage that he has is he's fresh, because the deeper we go into deep waters, the better I'm doing. Because I'm in better condition than him.
I dig it, man.
But he has those 2 advantages out of the gate. Oh, he's going to make me pay.
It's so funny. You can tell
No,
this
it's
is
not
like
funny.
a little thing
Oh,
for
it's
you.
a thing. It's a 20-something year thing with Dean.
Hey, man, I dig it, and that's probably going to continue till you guys are both
Yeah,
kind of
well,
out
we
of the
just had
game.
an incident yesterday.
Yeah,
you know?
and, man.
Incident yesterday happened, you know?
Hey, what happened? Talk about it.
No,
Jocko.
I already did.
No.
Words were exchanged loudly in the gym.
Anyway, Jerry is really good with that, where this is a guy in this guy's situation, more or less knee-wise anyway.
Yeah.
And I think it was even both his knees.
Yeah, I think it was.
So you can do that, and you can get like a good movement, good rolling without that impact. When every once in a while you got to turn up the heat or whatever on a guy, because that comes from ego. Yeah, it's more of like this competitive kind of spirit of rolling jiu-jitsu. That's kind of what it is. So if you can avoid that, you got to actively avoid it. And still get that movement if you can find the right person. And you can go. And you can go, you can learn, you can get more or less live situations, but you just can't be like, you can't fight
crazy.
that little fight in the fight, you know?
Get
You
crazy.
got to let that go.
Can't get crazy.
But yeah, you can learn for sure. You can learn.
Yeah.
Don't do takedowns. If you got a knee situation, don't do
no takedowns.
Takedown situation. That's going to be hard.
Check. All right.